All right, Patriots. Welcome to Patriot News Broadcasting. We're here with Juan tonight, getting started a little bit early. Glad to see you guys. Juan, how you doing out there?
Oh, I'm fine.
I like the view already. It's kind of cold and rainy here in Illinois.
Oh my gosh, it's like you know, uh, Windy City.
Yeah, for real. So, I wrote down a couple questions tonight. We could really get started anywhere. Are there any updates on Tina? I know my people here have been praying and writing and making phone calls. And
Well, let me just say this: Tina's situation is not going to get solved unless we're very consistent and aggressive and assertive on this. The powers that be um, are on a trajectory from inside Colorado. They want her to stay there and serve out the remaining 8 years of her sentence. They see her as the personification of evil, and what she did, somehow, one of the greatest crimes in American history, according to the judge. And so we're not going to get that solved unless there's some kind of outside influence effort, etc. She went in today, got her X-ray. She's as miserable as she's been, and I just think thanks.
Always a pleasure.
All right,
Okay.
super. All right. Take care of your dad.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Have a great day.
All right. Um, Part of the problem is that uh, there's this certain momentum that's there, and we can talk about how President Trump should be able to pardon, and there's all sorts of reasons why he should have access to be able to jump in from a federal standpoint. The people advising him have a different perspective on this. And I guarantee you that he has heard those arguments and is considering them. But the other side of the coin is if he turns things on its ear too much, um, there is problems that he's aware of where a judge could, come in and slap them all in the hand and want to take Tina back, even after federal action. There's only certain contexts where that could be forestopped, and one of them is this election emergency, which a national security uh, emergency with what he's got that he's going to sign here with the elections, according to what he's told the world. He's going to sign an executive order related to elections. In order for that to have any bite, it's going to have to be done in the context of the national election, national security election emergency, which is what we understand he's going to do. Um, we have the guys physically here in America. Some of them have already testified before grand juries in Florida concerning their role in subverting the way the machines worked in elections. Just so you know, that's not hopium. That's already begun. You may not be party to it. Why? Because their testimony is done within a grand jury. Grand
right.
jury testimony is secret. Hello. Okay. But there is portions of what they have said that can be put out to the public. I understand some little snippets here and there are going to be put out, but it's not them on the stand. It's them in other times when they've given some of these statements. And so uh, the cracks are happening in here. Will that be sufficient to get Teen out? Well, it probably will. The question is the timing. Even if you decide that she's got to get out because of the medical issues, depending on what's going on with her latest situation, she's been having a problem with fits of coughing. Um, she's uh, very exhausted, like she was when she was first diagnosed with the cancer. Um, it appears that, you know, something has got her. Uh, is it just common cold or cough or whatever? You know, they had her in a cell that was way low in temperature. Now they've got it's 40 degrees or something, and even with a blanket, they give you shit for blankets in the prison. They're just, might as well have a paper towel over you. And then now they've got the temperature in the room cranked to 85, which means they could have done it beforehand probably and just got it to a reasonable temperature. Um, Within the system itself, uh, uh, she's fussed about some things, and they staff don't like that. So she's not going to change that, and they've got a bent. She's trying to force them to do their job, and it's not being received well. And I could say a lot more detail, but I'm not, because I think it just come back and be more of a problem. But at the end of the day, um, everybody is aware. Her attorney Peter Tickton does talk to the president. The president's aware of some of these problems. Why doesn't he do something? Why? Hey, you know what? Um, it's not that he doesn't care, and it's not that he's only focused on stuff outside the country. There's a lot of things go into these considerations, and like I said, even on a medical thing, you got to file something with the court. You got to explain what it is. You have to verify it, validate it. Everybody's got to sign off on it. Just putting in something related to medical doesn't mean it's done instantly. And there was certain understandings over at Justice Department handing her off into federal custody. There was a formal request after the earlier requests appeared to be on track to be taken care of back at her birthday, and then got sidetracked, and now a more formal request last week. And the Attorney General out of Colorado said no and hell no, according to my understanding. And so, the fight's on. They're working through the problem.
I think
And
Trump's been doing a great job, honestly. I know there's a lot of naysayers lately, and I know Ivan Raiklan the other day said he thinks that Trump's only worried about the Nobel Peace Prize, and I was kind of
no, come on,
shocked.
man. You know what?
Kind of
I love
shocked about
Ivan.
that,
Come on, man. Don't do that. That's
right?
bullshit. That's an insult to everything that he's done so far. And he does take the personal situation of individual citizens like that very seriously. But, you have so many things that go into the considerations, things that most people just don't even, dial into the equation, if you will.
Right.
I think that's, um, we don't want to diminish ourselves by not understanding the magnitude of the fight that he's in and we're in. Okay,
Hmm.
it's a lot more complex than and he's not king. They can say anything they want. There's moments when he can be more definitive, etc. And he knows what he's got planned timing wise. Look, he's going to do an executive order. He said to the world almost a month ago now that he's going to, in a few days, be signing a executive order concerning elections. Um, I think it has to be done within the context of a national emergency. I think that's what he'll do. But till he does it, we don't know what he's going to do. And when he does do that, whatever he decides he has to do, and it's going to work, he can include Tina in some aspect of that. But again, let's give him credit for um, all the things he's got to weigh into the equation, all the things that are crucial in this equation. Um, I think it does a disservice to not give him credit for having the ear of the people and trying to do things that um, the most he can do without throwing the whole ox cart off, into the ditch.
I agree. I agree with you. And as far as election stuff, we've learned from you over time how much of a role Venezuela plays in all of that. Do you think there's a point where we'll actually see Nicolas Maduro captured by U.S. forces? Is he a big part of this as well?
Well, yeah, Maduro has been given an option. Maduro could go into exile. He could choose to do that right now. If Maduro's smart, he'll go into exile. He's been offered a pretty sweet deal, not for him, but for the Venezuelan people to allow them to move on. Okay, he can go to a nice tropical place. Um, Russia's already said no, we won't take him. China's already said no, we won't take him. Um, you know, Israel's already said no, we won't take him. He's got a place that he can go and live out his days with his family, and you know, uh, do just fine. Um, he doesn't want to take that, then he gets what he gets, and he may end up in a cell next to where Pineapple Face was there out of Panama. He may, uh, enjoy orange. Might be his favorite color for the rest of his life. Come on. I don't know if he's smart enough to take the deal. A lot of times these guys get in that position and they just can't let go. You ever seen the small rhesus monkeys in places like Thailand? There's an orange inside of a little cage, and a tangerine. They get their hand on it, and then how do you catch them? They have the orange inside that little cage. They won't let go. Once they have their hand on that orange, they won't let go for nothing. You can pick the cage up. You can put them in a bigger cage. You can do whatever. They just won't let go of it. They don't get that they're, you know, holding on to something that, we'll get them in the bigger cage, and yeah, we'll let them have an orange and feel better, but they're in the cage. Okay, Maduro's that guy. He may not be able to let go. It's part of the theme with dictators. So, and if not, we're not going away. We're not backing off. China's trying to work a deal to get the Venezuelan oil. We may, um, shoot that full of holes because it's an illegitimate government with Maduro there through election fraud. So any agreements he made are going to be null and void with China anyway. Just to see if I'm not right.
Right. So,
Well, and let me just come back, Tina, for a second.
yeah.
She's caught in the middle of something that's global in nature. There's so much more. We have all sorts of information. Look, remember all these AGs that went to South Africa, plus like the mayor of LA, Karen Bass, and others went to South Africa for their little agreement. We have,
Yeah.
the information, a special little club within government organizations and funded by Soros, where these people are all working together. That's coming out right now. You're going to be hearing more about it over the next few days. What's wild about that is that within this club, amongst other things, they had targeted Tina. And so literally government entities, people in government office, high office, and investigative agencies were being coordinated in this attack using federal personnel, kind of loosely tied to a continuity government type operation. But Soros funded to attack Tina. It was not just the local Mesa County prosecutor. Wasn't even just Colorado at the state level. This club attacked Tina because she was so dangerous to the overall operations. Um, we There is angles that will continue to evolve that um, from the Justice Department or from President Trump's office, some angle is going to emerge where they're going to get custody of Tina. It's just a matter of time. My main concern and upset is that when you're already been a cancer victim, days, hours, minutes count to get back on track. And in her current situation, she's medically not being cared for in a way that she'll be able to survive. The food, the stress, the overall environment are such that she's medically compromised. It's not even a mental thing. And so we need to act while there's time to get her back out and get her back on an even keel. She shouldn't be cannon fodder, and she's not. Um, if there's something canon is going to be done, uh, her appeal is going to be heard in January. That's 2 months from now. But in a cancer situation, that's an eternity.
Right.
So, should we be able to find some reason to get her into a better environment? Um, Certainly, the request has been made. It was formalized by Todd Blanche. They don't seem to be wanting to respond to that. Trump has said, I'll do something, and it will be, you know, not comfortable. I don't remember his exact words, to Colorado, to the various parties involved. Um, if Trump's got something in mind, I think sooner than later is what's appropriate. Just figure it out. Whatever it is, just figure it out and get it done. Because the state's pretty clear they're not going to do it, and the prison system is not um, very caring about her situation, obviously for good reason.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I'll
It,
be writing something. I have a customer list over at gumroad.com, all patriots at gumroad.com, and so I'll be following it up on that. I sent something out yesterday, and I'll include Tina in some of that. Uh, Probably the rest of this week, I'll probably send something out most every day. I'm very concerned that everybody understands what her situation is. She's 70 years old, Gold Star mom, been under all this stress for 5 years, didn't do anything wrong, and yet she's bearing the brunt. And now we find there's a whole organization nobody even knew existed outside of a handful of government employees that were in on it, that she was included in the targeting. Massive money being spent here, and money coming from, Soros, amongst others, coordinating this. Um, all of that information may change the legalities in being able to decide to bust her free, and we're gonna keep pushing to make that happen, and not backing off. Um, so anyway.
yeah. Beyond that, I mean, can we get any justice in the Justice Department, Juan? I know I kind of keep that on my mind all the time.
Well, again, there's great people in there, understaffed. They're trying to bring more on. They have a very particular kind of set of requirements they're looking for. They're not looking for guys and gals just fresh out of college or something like that. Um, they need trial experience. Look, you've got big cases going. There was a very important meeting today that happened that uh, it won't be public for months and months, is my guess. But they had a huge meeting today on some matters that will affect a very large swath of government employees, and uh, this is maturing by the hour. So it's not that nothing's happening, but it is, it's a process, and uh, Trump's not operating as king. Get over it.
I always see a lot happening. Do you do you think when these Epstein things come out, I know Bondi was talking about it today, are they going to put this stuff out unredacted or
No, it'll be redacted. Look, the whole Epstein thing was about blackmail and honeypotting. A lot of the people that got out there to the island were the whole point was to set them up.
right?
Okay. Is there people that, and by the way, the whole thing with Trump, uh, some girl that he spent time with, excuse me, that's not new information. We had that a year and a half ago. and it wasn't redacted. It was Virginia Giuffre, and she
Hmm.
already said that Trump didn't do anything before she mysteriously died. She said he was a perfect gentleman. She went out of her way to make sure that everybody knew that. But this latest thing should show you the plan and the intent. Ooh, 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 we don't know what they said. Ooh, 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 she spent all this time, and we have an email between Epstein and Ghislaine, like we have new information. No, you don't. The
Right.
redaction was used to twist it a certain way. And by the way, if you redact certain stuff, how long is it going to stay redacted? You have great researchers out there. You have a lot of victims. Hell, Frank, is that was me. That was me here. That was me there. They want justice. So, if they have to redact from the government side, just like they redacted Virginia Giuffre from the emails involving Trump, well, it had already been released elsewhere. Chances are pretty good we'll be able to figure it out. So let them redact away. They're not redacting everything. They're redacting some names. And I've said elsewhere, I have a person that is pretty well known to me. It described their situation when they got invited and went out to Epstein Island. And when they got there, they realized, oh my gosh, I'm here. I'm going to get set up. Kind of like Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos got invited over to Israel. Thinks he's doing this contract. They push $10,000 on him. He goes and gets an attorney in Greece before he comes back to the U.S. Says, I think I'm being set up. Well, he was. FBI shows up to meet him at the airport when he's landing at customs. What are they looking for? They were looking for the $10,000 plus a dollar, any money he had on him to exceed the amount that's not reported. That if you don't report it, you can get picked up for money laundering and all sorts of things like that. Well, he didn't have it. He left it in Greece. They thought they had him. They were going to get a guy inside the Trump camp. My guy went to Epstein Island because he thought he was going there to meet some business people and to further a business deal and get some support in research in the university system. He gets there and they're trying to set him up, and he realized it. Okay, and he feigns being sick to isolate himself until he can get out of there and go home and get out. And his name is on the airplane list. His name is going to show up various places. What did he do? Nothing. How many other people are in some similar situation who found themselves suddenly in a situation they had no idea they were walking into a trap? Okay, so not everybody's name who's redacted is a victim
Right.
or a bad guy. And the Justice Department has certain things. They're not indicted. You could destroy somebody's life. So, where there's, known stuff, where there's already stuff in a trial setting or something like that, let them do their job. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. I don't know if the people on the
But
left
a bunch of
will.
people that don't understand how the system works and they're trying to gin it up. Well, I don't want them to also do something. Let's say there's a for real bad guy on there, but it hasn't been adjudicated yet. And then, just like we're all upset because of the Comey thing, and she didn't follow some, cross a T, dot an I somewhere, supposedly, and messed it up, and the judge is calling it in. Well, what if they mess it up because they didn't protect somebody or that wasn't yet indicted or put it out there and taint a case before it's actually presented to a jury? What if something like that happens? They know what they can and can't do legally. Let them do it. Cut the bullshit. And Trump's getting it redacted. Trump's not letting it. Bullshit. Fuck you.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
come on,
doesn't.
man.
There's so many names coming out of the left, more than anything. But will they ever pay attention to those names?
Well, they're going to because there's going to look. Epstein is the gateway to WikiLeaks. It only starts with Epstein.
Right.
When you get to the rest of what's there with WikiLeaks and other similar stuff, that's when they get wiped out. Nobody's really looked at WikiLeaks yet, especially
That's
from a
true.
legal criminal standpoint, because we didn't have a situation where we could prosecute it. It wasn't developed enough. Whatever. Okay, well, let's come back and look at that. Are the Clintons more worried about Epstein or WikiLeaks? I'm very serious. Think about it.
Well, yeah. What happens if they don't choose to, sit down and answer questions.
Well, it's okay. I mean, it's an opening salvo. Now you go into the criminal side, and people get called before a grand jury. So, uh, it's an inquiry. Uh, you know, let them stomp their feet and say no, and then you go to the next legal level that you can go to.
Yeah.
So, let the process work. Nobody's getting away. Look, anybody out there that thinks they're going to get away with it, no, not happening. Okay, it's a process, and the noose is tightening. Those grand juries in Florida aren't doing bullshit. They're getting ready to do real stuff. Gitmo is ready to start receiving uh, new clientele, fresh meat. Don't kid yourself. I'm very serious. That's before it's all. In fact, I have a coin uh, that's on Jen's site and my site that I think will be one of the most important touchstone markers in this whole thing. The Megador, Trump going past the bullshit and killing the bull. Uh, uh, the Trump coin, I think, will be one that's um, actually quite valuable because the limited printing that we've done, silver coin, out into the future, and silver's going to go to the moon still. Uh, that one's only till the end of 2025, and in fact, our last order comes in about a week or two, and so it's a pretty good buy for anybody that wants it. The commercial's
Nice.
over. The whole point is that the Gitmo coin is there for a reason. It's a marker in time. This is the moment where we switch from patty cakes, including at the Justice Department. Ultimately, the Justice Department is not where we get justice this time around for the worst of the crimes. Acts of war were committed against America by foreign countries: Venezuela, Cuba, Serbia, Russia, China. Okay, acts of war. Um, we're in a war-like condition, and there's a couple of supposed allies who were in on it too, by the way, through their intelligence agencies. Oh, but wait a second, we have our own intelligence agencies who were in on it too. FBI, CIA, and multiple other agencies inside of Homeland Security. The agency directors refused to provide the information in compliance with Executive Order 13848 within 45 days of the 2020 election, November 3rd of 2020. Their report was due, an interim report, not a final report, on December 18th to President Trump and available for Congress. It was never delivered. Had the information of foreign interference that we know is true, that we have right now, been provided then, that those agencies had and refused to supply. Imagine this: FBI knew that there was foreign interference in the American election on November 3rd. They knew it before the election, they knew it after the election. They knew that it came out of
Mm-hmm.
Serbia. They knew that the building, think about this, FBI knew that the building where all of that data was emanating from to cook the vote machines in the United States, that building was co-owned by CIA Director Brennan, former CIA Director Brennan at that time, and the wealthiest man in Serbia. They knew then that the vote fraud was coming from that building. FBI knew that. Comey had helped do some of the setup while he was still there in the FBI. And then others that were around him, his successors within the agency, participated in cooking the books to make sure Trump wouldn't be able to get back in to finish what he was started. CIA was in on that. They didn't provide their information of foreign interference in the election. Lots of agencies didn't provide the information of foreign interference in the 2020 election that they full on knew had occurred. Well, that's treason. Those
Right.
agency heads, they weren't made president. They didn't have the legal authority not to provide information on foreign interference in the election. They did not have that legal authority. They did not. They had to provide that information. Their not providing it was an act of insurrection to help with the coup to put Biden into office, who was not legally elected by the American people.
I
Foreign
think
interference. And so now you come back, but they're inside of our government. They're inside of our borders. They help do the setup, Russia, and everything else. Okay, well, um, when it comes time to prosecute, are you going to be satisfied with the Justice Department doing it? And, they're out on bail for 10 years while they're arguing the whole thing? No, they committed acts of treason. They will go to Gitmo. That's what's coming. Those cases are not uh, minor cases to present. And tracking the money, including, look, we only knew a couple weeks ago, based on work that Tom Fitton did over at Judicial Watch, about the agency operation, this private operation, this non-government organization that all these government employees belong to, about their work to coordinate the attorney generals in 20 states and a bunch of other government employees in these attacks, these very coherent, complex attacks on President Trump, on Tina Peters, and on many others with all these lawsuits. So we're just getting to that. They did stuff in a very coherent, coordinated, monetized way against the best interests of the American people. That will not be allowed to stand. It is a process to get it to the point where we take action. And when they do, they'll wish it was being dealt with by Justice Department. You watch.
Well, we are definitely excited about it. I think we're all hanging on here the best we can, and I'm pretty happy with the stuff I see Trump getting done. I do see sort of weird situation. It seems like Russia gets blamed as much as Trump sometimes. I know they're stirring up things in Eastern Europe and Poland and
Well, again, it's the NATO thing.
right.
There's a clique that wants to keep the money spending going on so that they can, keep their defense contractors happy. Look at what's going on in Saudi Arabia right now. You're creating a new manufacturing hub in northern Syria for certain of the weapons. Saudi Arabia for certain of the weapons. And the money coming out of Saudi Arabia is helping to fund that. They're a near partner to NATO. They're not a NATO country, but they're classified as a near partner country. Um, there's a lot going on here, including the stuff into Ukraine and like that. Short version is Trump isn't going to get baited in. They tried to suck America into a Bay of Pigs situation the other day down in Venezuela. Some of your people may remember that some contractors loosely associated with CIA and intelligence agencies got picked up in Venezuela. And they wanted Trump to authorize certain action. He had assets in the area, but it was contractors. They were trying to suck us in to a Bay of Pigs situation. Trump said no and hell no. It was close though. There was people inside the administration who, for all the world, were great Trump supporters and MAGA and everything else. No, they weren't. They were trying to suck us in, and they played a role right up to the critical moment, and Trump didn't fall for the bait. You think we have all the traitors around Trump identified? Not even close. There's
Right.
probably
I think
still a solid couple of dozen very highly placed people around Trump that have been able to evade exposure up to this moment in time. And that still, Washington's most trusted spy within the Culpeper gang, his most trusted general, ended up being a traitor to Washington. And ended up going back to England and living out his life at the end of the Revolutionary War. We have people that are still in there and they're on the other side trying to be a sleeper until just the right moment where they can make the difference. Uh, the stories are out there. One of the more famous stories, and it's repeated over and over. Uh, you've seen it in all the wars where some woman or guy uh, marries somebody uh, in a government agency in a location, even has kids, and then it later comes out that they were working for the other side, and that even the family was a cover. Okay, uh, deep breaths. This is a lot different than most people give it credit for. We're in a very advanced because everything's on the line, everything's in play, and it's for all the world.
Right. I love hearing Sheila Holmes talk about some of that, the history of it. I know it on the one hand, people take it back to Kennedy, and then you take it a lot farther back. We've been looking at bloodlines lately on here, which goes way back.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the way you can tell the bloodlines is by the numbers, and but then they put it right in plain sight. But even then, you have defectors within some of these families that have decided they're not good with it. So it's not a perfect indicator, but it is a frequent indicator.
Yeah.
So just so you know.
Interesting. Yeah, we're in an interesting information kind of war. I mean, it's good to see people coming back to YouTube lately and kind of trying to change things here. Uh, I think people were just thrown off by some of the stuff with like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson, and it kind of throws people the wrong
Well, I don't think
direction.
Tucker
But
did anything wrong. I think
I
Marjorie,
don't
the
either.
president, uh, got a little bit animated. I know that some of my friends that are Jewish were very distressed that Tucker did the interview that he did, but within the context of what he was trying to do, he wasn't agreeing. He was doing an interview to try and get to uh, certain certain things. He interviewed somebody that's very Nazi and all that. Um, if you don't engage with some of those people at different times, you don't fully understand what they're thinking. And at some level, I don't care what they think. They're mad, they're insane, they're, you know, incoherent. Then again, other times I want to know exactly what they're thinking or saying because it helps us to know how they might move or act in certain situations. So it's a little dicey. Uh, you got to be, uh, split the baby. You got to decide, is it better or worse to do or know certain things or not. In the case of Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's criticizing the president because he's doing everything offshore and not helping country in America, which is where the real constituency is. Well, I think that's not correct, and I like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but at the end of the day, uh, you can't fix the problems in America without addressing some of the stuff that's going on outside of America, and so you have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. And a lot of the things that we're doing, the agreements he's making, etc., are working back towards home, laying the basis for prosperity here, whether it's tariffs or agreements for production and things like that. It's a process to get to the right answer. I don't think he's off base at all. These foreign contacts and agreements are part of what it takes to be presidential. And the elections were thrown in 71 countries plus the United States, according to the people that did this. Uh, you have to address some of those places so that you have allies willing to work with you as we go after the people that have stolen elections all over the world.
Right.
That's the way it is. And you know, I just want to move on from elections. I don't really care about that. Let's just get the next one right, etc. No. You have a lot of people that are in power other places that if you don't go address that, they come back and cause a problem for us in unexpected ways. Look, you have, you know, let me just be clear. We have lots of people that we have picked up here in the U.S. that were sent here by Maduro, by Cuba, by other groups, huge gangs that were sent here, and they've admitted in interviews uh, after we take them into custody that they were sent here to disrupt society here in America, slit somebody's throat on a train, cut somebody's um, throat in a store, or cause some other kind of disruption where people can't just do the American thing life. Bragging about the fact that America has never seen the murderous side of these people. We're about to get an education. That was the plan. Had Trump not won the last election, they'd be in full force right now, taking down America and breaking us up into regions, which is what the globalists want. That it's not happening is a testament to the fact that as Trump has come in, they've disrupted that. In fact, you know, I was on the day that Trump was inaugurated, literally as he was speaking in the hour after the inauguration, I was getting texts just a few minutes into the speech from people who had been activated. Military personnel had just gotten their orders and orders to report. And then in the subsequent days, they went out and began apprehending the heads of several large criminal organizations and taking them into custody. And the videos are out there. You can go look at them. They're online. Where did they take these people? They took these heads of these organizations that were in the United States on U.S. soil to Gitmo. Okay, so Gitmo's open for business. And what was the purpose of that? To head off this attempt to bring America into some type of civil unrest leading to civil war. By the way, you may have seen the videos where we got vans full of bullets, where guys went into gun stores and bought all the bullets they could find, loaded them up in rental vehicles, and then were transporting them from southern states to northern states. And these are people that were setting us up for this fight just ahead. Well, how did we find out about those van loads? How did we find out about the money to buy that stuff? We found out about it because we were interrogating the guys that we had picked up that were the heads of these gangs, and they rolled over. I've got a shipment coming here. These are the guys that do it. Here's where they'll come in. They'll go to this location. And then miraculously, we just happened to be driving down the street, and the van's headlights were pointing way up like he had his high beams on. No, it just had so much weight in it from all the bullets, which are lead, that the van was laying low and the lights were shooting up. Oh, well, we pulled him over, and then we discovered all this. No, you were actually looking for him. You knew he was coming, and you know, but that was a good story. We're far more along on this than most people realize. Are we through this yet? No, we are not. Not in the slightest. Why cut off all the money at USAID? We were helping the whole world. No, we weren't. We were financing the people that were coming here to come slit our throats.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but we're not broadcasting on the radio all the free speech to the rest of the world. That was a group of people that were promoting communism across the world and into America and speaking against the president and causing all sorts of questions. So cut the bullshit. Are we ahead of the game? We're better off than we were before Trump came back into office. Is it totally solved? Not a chance. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Take a deep breath.
Yeah, so far, it's not. We haven't had too much violence lately. I guess that's a plus.
Well, you had relative stability. Look, you can still go to the gas station and get gas. Your bank machine still works. You got groceries. Is it perfect? No. Um, uh, is economy losing momentum? Absolutely. Every measure you got. Look at what's happened with crypto and the markets, and literally um, falling off a cliff over the last month. The only place that's relatively stable has been gold and silver. Why? Because they're tangible. All of the airy promises um, out to investors, the bond market's about to, experience real drama, etc. The banking stuff globally, etc. People are trying to get in position, get ready, brace yourself for what's coming, and uh, so and that's part of the reason why I did the silver, was to help people think in those terms and start getting ready. Okay, well, everything I told you about is coming. We're here. It's actually occurring right now. You're actually in a little bit of a pause this exact second before we, launch further into the next big segment. So, let's get through Thanksgiving, and then I think, the executive order somewhere in here is going to come down. The emergency declaration under a national emergency, taking control of the elections, and the shocks that come from that. Because it's going to be obvious that the games aren't going to be continued. These guys aren't going to be able to win the way they've been winning. All these people that are hand wringing over 2026, when Trump makes that announcement, everybody knows that the jig is up in large measure. And by the way, that's why a bunch of Democrat congressional people and then a bunch of military people did this little video I did something with Nino about yesterday. You don't have to obey an illegal order, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What illegal order? Name the order. Well, you don't have to obey it. It's an illegal order. If it's, you got to go on the street and apprehend people that aren't here legally or something like that. Okay, where's Trump not have the authority to do that? Where's Trump not have the authority to declare a national emergency regarding elections when we have the guys in custody that actually did the fraud on the elections here and elsewhere around the world? They're trying to get ready because they know it's coming. It's going to be epic. It's almost here in those lanes. And it's going to greatly affect the way that the country works, the world works.
Yeah, I have a feeling hundreds of years from now, we will continuously look back at this moment and how it's affected the rest of the world.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. Well, let's see. What else is going on in the world? China, Taiwan. Are we going to see anything happen there?
Well, we're seeing it right now. China's entered into trade agreements with Venezuela, and so they're going to try to force us to stand down in Venezuela with Maduro. Um, but they wouldn't take Maduro to China. Uh, they wouldn't accept it because Trump was gonna made it very clear. You take Maduro and look why? Because it's the center of evil for much of what's gone wrong in the world has been Venezuela, and certainly inside the United States, with millions of people here in the United States ready to take America to war. Uh, uh, Literally soldiers, insaniacs out of Venezuela here to do a job. Um, it's the dark night is coming. It won't last long, but it won't last just a day. It'll be, a couple of weeks of drama. It's coming, and the only thing that all the players didn't count on is that the American people won't be pansies if we're put up against the wall, and it won't be as simple as Maduro and all of his people have believed. There's a reason why he's got a $50 million bounty on him. If he's smart, he'll take the desert island and enjoy the sun, and that's his new prison. But if he doesn't, We have another desert island that does have a prison, and you'll wear an orange jumpsuit while you're there. You know, make your choice. So
That's pretty wild. Um, yeah. I don't know what to say. I know we really appreciate it. Things have been so back and forth. We listened to your episode with Nino the other night, and it was pretty motivating. I really enjoyed it.
well, I mean, you have a Gold Star mom. What kind of assholes allow a Gold Star mom, 70 years old, to be thrown into a prison where she's got to sleep with a tissue thin blanket in 40-degree weather, and she's a cancer survivor? She's eaten nothing but shit in there if she chooses to eat it. The food is rancid. Oh no, it's good. It's good. No, it isn't. It's rancid. The meat is rancid. The you know, you can barely get a piece of fruit smuggled in there. The bread is, literally designed to kill you. You know, um, and then she's thrown into cells with some of the most monstrous people. People that are laughing about the fact that they're going to rearrange her face. She won't recognize herself in the mirror when she wakes up. They're going to kill her, and nobody's coming for her. And she's their victim in the cell. Even when she complains, oh, why are you complaining? We'll throw you in solitary. They set her up on the way the toast thing cooks, and she's doing this thing. She's supposed to be working in the kitchen at a prior facility. Somebody sabotaged where the dial was at or something. So she burned the toast. I mean, she just got assigned there. So then she goes to solitary because she burned the toast. Seriously? Come on, man.
Good
Freaking moron
Lord.
jerkasses. So, am I a bit lit up about getting Tina free? Yeah. Um, it's less a reflection even on the justice system in Colorado than it is as us as a people. That for some reason our government is so completely out of control, our justice system is so completely out of control that on really fake evidence, stuff that's going to come up in the appeal, by the way, in January. Uh, she, uh, when they review the appeal stuff, uh, she'll win her appeal, is my opinion, and most everybody else involved. Which means that when she wins her appeal, it will be that she spent all this time in jail for no reason because she was right. She didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
They want her in there as a scarecrow. Normally, on a case like this, crap, you let baby rapers out. You let,
Right.
uh, bank robbers and all sorts of other stuff out. Meth manufacturers and dealers out on bail while you're working through the issues. Give us a bail number. You know, you want to make it 5 million, okay, but give her bail. She deserves bail. And it should be reasonable bail, by the way, while her thing is being appealed because she has valid points to appeal. They didn't let her do that. No, they want her to pay the price so that no matter what, 70-year-old woman, how much is every day of your life worth? How much more is it worth when you're getting to the tail end? And if you're a cancer survivor and the conditions are such that even the conditions can kill you, oh, well, of course they don't care. They're making a point. So maybe it's time where we need to make a point too. And that's why I'm just saying, please figure it out, Mr. President. Get her out of there. Do it while she still has a fighting chance to get her health back. And it appears that it's she's up against it on her health right now.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 long months for
Well,
between
until we
now and
wait that long,
January.
it's very possible that the president does something sooner. The president has intoned that he will do something drastic if the governor of Colorado and the other people involved don't take action to assist and protect Tina. Well, they haven't. They haven't let her go. So what's the president going to do, and when's he going to do it? I don't know, but I think it is coming. So let's go do it. Let's go get her out, get it over with. So
Yeah,
that's my prayer.
that'd be nice. It would be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I know people
Uh,
are stressed out on, prices are getting high, and that's kind of what has people down. But it's nice to see this other side of stuff.
well, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Don't
Yeah,
fool yourself. That again is the story of silver. The prices are going up, not because the silver is going up, because the paper dollar is going to go down. And by the way, that's why all that paper dollars are out there, counterfeited and real, on thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pallets with $100 million each. It's to collapse the dollar, just like we collapsed the ruble in Russia. Uh, uh, you know, it's the plan.
and
That's
yeah,
where this is going. Okay, so don't be a fool and be slow and then complain after the fact. At these prices, this is probably cheap. And I can tell you, 50. You know, when the price spiked last time around on silver a few weeks ago, in Canada, 1 ounce maple leaf, silver maple leafs. Here, the price of the maple leafs, uh, because it sells at a premium to the spot price. The spot price is just the silver. When you have a minted coin, it has a certified weight and value that the government is guaranteeing. So it's a certain purity, it's a certain weight, and the government guarantees it, and then it's allowed for legal tender. Canada has the maple leaf, America has the silver eagles. They're almost interchangeable. In fact, the maple leaf's a little bit more pure than the silver eagle. So most merchants like that, if they're buying it from you, they'll, oh yeah, well it's Canadian, we're on less. If they're selling it, they want more. But so I have a lot of maple leaves. That's why I mentioned it. But uh, the maple leafs, when the silver was headed past 56 dollars US, the maple leafs were selling for $89 in Canada. Okay, people went crazy trying to get a hold of them. Now the price has lightened up on the silver in the spot market, but now there's no silver to buy. It's very hard to track down silver, and you got merchants say, I'll sell it to you for X amount to get the money, and then the silver doesn't show up very timely. So it is getting um, uh, sketchier and sketchier, more animated right now, because it's going to be a big deal. Silver's probably going up significantly before this is over. It'll make the current prices look very cheap ultimately. And it's part of the plan, because we're moving away from the paper Federal Reserve notes to silver and gold backed treasury notes that will be convertible to real gold and silver. And that's part of the Trump plan. And that's what will evolve. He has to get the election stuff taken care of first. The prices are anticipating what's going to happen and what's already happening behind the scenes in the banking sector. And I expect even a lot of times these things do surges when everybody else is asleep at the wheel. Here at the holidays, and I'm not going to worry about it till whenever, and blah, blah, blah. And the dealers behind the scenes, uh, they're working a deal to go clip stuff and take it to the moon, while everybody else, and you wake up on the other side, oh my gosh, what happened? So that's what's coming. Get your gold and silver now while the getting's good, and get the hell out of the way. And it doesn't have to be $1 trillion, even if you only have enough to get a few ounces here and there. Go get it. Go to the pawn shop and get some gold or silver, and you're going to pay a premium because it's minted and got a weight, and it's not going to sell for spots. So, you know, uh, expect that. And even when you buy stuff over the internet and have it mailed to you, and then you got a mailing fee, and you got an insurance fee and everything else. It's not going to go for spot. Get over it. So it's going much higher.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, all this is technically it's all good stuff. I mean, really, it's all stuff that has to happen to get us where we need to be.
I wouldn't say it's good stuff. It's necessary
Right.
stuff, as you were starting to say. Um, but we've gotten painted into a corner, and so this is where we're going. So anyway, I've only got a few minutes left. I've got a meeting that I've got to go to here. I've got people coming over on some of the political stuff here in Hawaii. We've got a meeting, and so I've got to leave pretty soon. But I apologize. Any other good questions though before I head out?
Oh, where to go? You know, an interesting question. People have been talking about the chemtrails lately. Some say it's good stuff coming down on us. Some say it's bad stuff
No,
coming down on us. Some
no.
say it's nothing
It's
coming
not
down.
good stuff. It's not good stuff. But again, kind of this necessary thing. Look, there's several aspects to what's going on there. Electrification of the atmosphere. Um, if you look at charge differentials, once you've got the material into the atmosphere, it allows you to up the charge that the atmosphere can hold. You can do wild things with it. And of course, you go back to Tesla with the Wardenclyffe Towers. What he was doing was using a charge differential between the ground state charge and the atmospheric charge. That's why he's able to send these, lightning bolts. Technically, you thought they were going up into the clouds. No, they're coming out of the clouds down into the ground. And he just added a pulse to them, so that that's the whole cycle with like say AC current, where there's the way you have to view it is people think that when you plug into the electricity with your cord that it's like a hose and you're running water through a hose. No, with AC you're adding a pulse to it, and so it's like holding onto a rope, and one guy pulls this way and the other guy pulls the other way, back and forth, back and forth. You see Trump doing that all the time with his supposed towel back and forth. Anyway, why is that important? Because that is the secret to the AC current versus direct current, which was um, what Edison was pushing. And so with this AC pulse, the energy isn't going through the cord; it's just adding a resonance, a vibration to it. It's not resonance technically; it's a pulse. And so he was doing that um, into the earth and from the atmosphere and like that. The reality is that even he didn't realize the full magnitude of the effect that he could create with a relatively small jiggling, if you will, and had to go back and recalculate after he did some of the stuff that he did, because the effect, it literally caused the crust of the earth to, in its own way, it's not an exactly precise term, but for people to mentally visualize it, that the crust of the earth was resonating like ringing a bell, and that chime, as we call it, moment, that ringing moment, even after he shut down the tower, it was imprinted into the um, matter, the material, the crust, the crystallization
You're
of the
kind of
crust of
talking
the earth
about
in that area.
like the Mayotte event.
Which event? I'm not sure.
The what do they call it? Mayotte, I think. The I is it down by Madagascar maybe, where the
Well,
Earth
there was
rain kind of like a.
no. There is a. We have a generator. There's other groups that have generators. We're sending um, resonating patterns that have intersection points in Antarctica, because we're upsetting some people's day and have been for quite a while. So there's facilities that can be used to do that, and others that want to do it to us. So you know, you can cause um, a type of resonance in the crust of the earth. And even if you look at, for example, Egypt, not that it had a pulse, but Egypt is interesting at the Great Pyramid at Cheops. It's built in the only place on the planet that you could actually build that structure without it having already begun to topple over and break up because of its own weight. Um, Anywhere else, the crust of the earth would be thinner. Think of it as a foundation. There in Egypt, unlike where the crust is 10 to 12 miles thick, most places on the planet, it's thinner, some places like where I am here. Uh, there in Egypt, at the exact site where the Great Pyramid is, 19.5 degrees off the rotating mass of the Earth, uh, 19.47. Uh, the crust of the Earth goes down almost 70 miles. It's like a spike into the earth. Think of the old, for some of you that are older, the old record players, and you had a diamond stylus, and it would get into the groove of the record, and then it would travel down that groove, and it would bounce through the groove and resonate and send a signal up through the diamond into the pickup of the record player, and then an amplifier, and then you hear it out the speakers. Okay, and so that diamond stylus was traveling in the track of the record, which was turning, rotating on a dish. Um, at Egypt, the Great Pyramid has this spike underneath it that's like a foundation, way deep into the crust of the earth where the crust is hard. Everywhere else around it, it gets shallower and shallower and shallower fairly quickly. It's a unique spot on the whole planet. Why does it exist there? It appears it exists on all the rotating planets. Uh, um, why do I say rotating around an axis? Because the moon, for example, it's a moon of the Earth, but you always see the same face. It's like it's on a tether. It's like a tether ball with a rope tied to it. It's always got the same face looking to the Earth. You go out to places like Saturn and Jupiter. Uh, Saturn for different reasons, but Jupiter's the best example. Look at where the eye on Jupiter is located. It's exactly, not almost, it resonates around 19.47 degrees off the rotating mass if you have a north-south pole of the planet where it's rotating, you go 19.47 degrees below the equator. Uh, on the planet, that's where the big eye is on Jupiter. Well, what is that? It's a continuous storm. It's not actually land or something like that. Jupiter is a gaseous planet. It's just that the weight is so great that it acts like a solid. Imagine steam, if you will, and it's very vaporous, and you brush your hand right through it. But if you get into a high enough gravity location, such as, say, Jupiter, the steam that might take up a whole household might be condensed down to a fraction of an inch of a cube. Well, all of that material, it's still gaseous technically because of
Right.
temperature and other things, but it acts like a solid. It's so dense that it's just like, a rock. Um, uh, Jupiter is actually a gaseous planet made up of different types of gases, but it's so heavy with the gravity that it feels and looks like a solid. Where the eye on Jupiter is at, all of that material is erupting. It is, uh, if you looked at the planet kind of on its side, it's like if you've ever had a bubble out on your car tire where it starts to delaminate on the rubber. It's all flat on the side, and one little bubble is sticking out. I had that where I hit a curb a few months ago, and it damaged the tire, broke a belt, and now the air wasn't contained in that belt area. It was bubbling out to the cap of the tire, so I had a little bubble on my car tire. If you look at Jupiter kind of on its side, the atmosphere looks like it's got a little bubble on it. And that bubble, that sticking out area, is where energy is erupting from down inside the planet deeper. It's constantly erupting like a volcano. And so what you see is the eye on Jupiter is gases and materials from way down deep coming up like a volcano and erupting through the um, denser material cloud layer, if you will, and erupting in that area. Well, it happens right at 19.47 degrees off the equator. The Great Pyramid is planted at a location just like that. What's that deep, dark crust sticking down into the earth like a stylus doing? There's magma down there. There's very dense molten material, gases uh, that are so thick and heavy, they act like a solid, and they're contained within inside this balloon wall, which is the crust of the earth, which is much cooler. So as this stylus, this thing poking down in it underneath the equator, is poking into that material is flowing past it very slowly. And as it flows past it, it causes a ringing, a resonance, a vibration up through that's actually measurable to the pyramid. And that's why, for example, the capstone that would be on top, the gold capstone, which isn't there anymore, many people believe that the energy dissipation out of there was such that it created nitrogen and caused the, nitrogen is used for fertilization. And so the valley out there beyond the pyramid there in Egypt was very, very, very fertile and green because it was always getting this nitrogen from the resonance of the cap of the pyramid from below. There's other stuff there that
That's awesome.
goes into crystallization and, all the people about resonance and all that. For example, I had friends. One of them, a very famous friend, everybody here probably would remember the name. He's passed now. And he had a piece of the material that was from the capstone on the Great Pyramid. You get it in the right location, in where it was being hit by the right other stuff, that sucker would glow like a freaking light bulb. Okay. And the capstone that was on the pyramid, not just at the top, the gold at the top, but it had a marble face all the way around the pyramid. And the face wasn't flat, it was concave, exactly the same as the curve of the earth, just slightly concave. And so, like a satellite dish, almost imperceptible. We didn't even know it was there until satellites were mapping it. And at some point, we realized, oh, look at this, it's concave, very precise. But that marble surface that was on the pyramid was getting energy, and it lit up like a light bulb at night. You could see it even in the daytime. It probably had a glow to it that was not, that could be seen, even in the daytime. So that's how strong that resonance was into the quartz material. So anyway.
That's pretty amazing, actually.
Yep. So one last question, and I got to go.
I don't even know what.
Well, let's go back to Tina. What are we going to do? I think that we have to. Tina was trending over at the White House and Governor Polis's office. How are we going to get her free? The president is probably going to have to act. The governor of Colorado could act, but he's not. He's got his own thing. But then again, you never know. You got to try everything. I think we have to melt the phone lines down to Governor Polis. He can act. This is a 70-year-old woman who's never even had a traffic ticket. Okay. That her son isn't here to speak for. Remington is her son, Gold Star mom. He was Navy SEAL, Golden Knights parachute team, double chute failure, very, suspicious. But he's not here to speak for her. Well, who can speak for her? Responsibility falls to us, and there's a certain collective guilt that for some reason we cannot get our politicians, our legal, our whatever, sorted out enough to protect her. That's just wrong, man. Um, uh, President Trump has said she's a political prisoner. She's a political prisoner.
Hmm.
It's just for uh, their. She's a scarecrow to anybody else coming out. Now we are very close to where this stuff's going to come out. President Trump has said that he's going to take drastic measures at some point to stop what's going on with Tina. I think that's coming, and I don't think he was playing around. So
What can he do exactly? Can he go in and send forces in?
if he does a national election emergency, which I believe is exactly what he's going to do, he said he's going to uh, do an executive order related to the vote. Uh, no more mail-ins, 1 day vote, hand count, paper ballot. Uh, the point that you don't have the mail-ins, you don't have the drop boxes, you don't have the corrupt voter rolls. It's a whole different ballgame on the vote. And by the way, the primary, specific, exact reason why he has to go to an executive order with a national emergency is that he forces the states not to be able to use machines. He forces the states to have to do um, uh, new voter rolls, and with government issued ID, push the existing voter rolls off to the side. When you have new voter rolls, hand count, paper ballot, counted where cast, 1 day election, you're not transporting the votes to some central vote counting location. All the critters can't do their vote frauds and overturn it. In that context, he's going to make it, you know, literally virtually impossible to cheat. Places that have been blue through the fraud aren't going to be blue anymore. You get one honest election under our belt and then back it up with a second honest election in 2028. It's game over for all the fraudsters, Democrat and Republican. We've got some frauds in the Republican Party too. Look at what's going on up in Utah with the
Yeah.
RICO up there. When we get an honest election, it's going to change the world here in America and the world, across the world, all the other countries. We're going to set the example, and we're going to help all those other countries get honest elections there too. And that's why Trump is so focused on Venezuela, because it's not just about us. You've got to protect the rest of the world. We know what's going on. We know where it's coming from. We know who's in on it. That's why we're going to stop it. Not going to let it keep going. So, deep breaths. It's coming our direction. In the meantime, I don't want Tina to be sacrificed on the altar of bureaucracy from either side. While we're waiting to get all of this done and do the executive order and national security thing, Tina's situation has changed. You know, painful as it is, she's survived this long, but her health has taken a turn. And so we need to do this with some urgency. And that would be my prayer to the president. And I believe that we have to call and make sure that the White House knows where we're at. The line to actually take and receive the calls is only open from 10 to 3 Eastern. We trended over the last several days, but the problem is that these things come and go, and then they fall away, and the next big important thing comes in.
Right.
I think we have to stay on point and not let it fall off the radar. And so it's going to be a sustained call for action that the president, he gets notified periodically through the day what's going on the call lines, and also the emails, which are 24 hours a day, all through the week. You can email the White House. And they check a box. The operators have been very good, noting that, yes, we're aware of the Tina Peters case. Thank you. We'll make a note. They pull some of the communications out, and the president actually will read them or hear. And but they check boxes. I had this many calls on this subject, this many on this. We've been trending. I think we have to keep it up there till it's done. It ain't over till it's over. And by the way, if it was you, if it was your mom, if it was somebody you personally knew and cared about, um, would you be on it? We've had prisoners in various places in the world where our government wasn't going to go in and do anything, and then a mom or loved one stays on it till they finally figure it out, and somebody has to act because the heat's on. This may be one of those situations. The president has a lot of people advising him. The reality is, I don't really care about all the details. Just figure it out. The president's got to pick a lane, figure it out. And there's a lot going on there. Us keeping it at the top of the list is important. And then the president has people that are pushing him to allow some machines in this executive order, everything else. He's been pretty adamant that ain't happening. But behind the scenes, that's what apparently has been really dragging things out on putting this executive order on. The reality is no machines. There's no entry point for the machines. And if the president was to allow any, that would actually damage everything else he's doing. So we'll have to watch and see how this breaks out. But that's the fight we're in right now. So
Usually,
let me see. Yeah, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say you're usually a staunchest supporter, I'd say. So you don't seem worried at all. I don't,
Well, I am concerned because you can have we can get Tina Peters back. She just had an X-ray today and find out that this is back somehow. That in the first place when she was diagnosed, it was many uh, months before they figured out it was cancer in the lung. Why it just didn't show up obvious, but she was sick enough that she kept going back and having the blood test done until they finally found it, and then they traced it and found it. Oh, there it is, visible now. Okay, she feels like she did when she came down with cancer in the first place. She's exhausted. That's the way she describes it. Okay, and she's been a good trooper. She's done all the right stuff. She's been in the fight. She's one of us. But there are limits. She can't eat the shit that they're trying to feed her in the prison. There's nothing with nutrients in it. Okay, she's 7 years old. She's not prison's hard for young women, let alone somebody that's 7 years old. And then when you got maniacs and saniacs that she's stuck in there with, uh, 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 yeah. I mean, I could go into a lot of detail. I won't because it might come back and make it harder for her. But she's not being well treated in this situation, and that she's a gold star mom. Figure it out. Just get it done. Get her out of there. Figure it out. I don't need grandstanding. I don't need it to be done or whatever. Find a way. There's a way. I know there's a way. Figure it out. Make it happen. I don't care. Let the chips fall where they may. Let's get her out. Even if we only get her out for a few months while we're waiting for the appeal to happen there in January, and then be decided on. Just because it's heard in mid-January doesn't mean that we get an answer in mid-January. We have something on a habeas corpus that was filed, heard a month ago. We were told that it should only be, a couple of weeks before we get an answer. Crap, it's been a month. There's got to be some urgency because minutes are hours, hours are days, days are weeks. Come on, man. That's how it feels when you're miserable like that. And the monster's getting a hold of you. So let me say a quick prayer. Father God, I thank you for Tina. I thank you for all those that are listening, considering this. I ask you to move on each one to assist in whatever way possible and be counted. Seeking justice for justice sake for Tina. Um, we ask that you would move on the hearts of the people that have power to uh, deal equitably with Tina, and that you would move decisively and quickly. We know that for all that people are looking to men and agencies and machines to do things in this world, and specifically in Tina's case, ultimately she is in your hands and your timing. We ask you to move quickly and decisively to help Tina, give her the peace of your presence and the health that comes from being directly connected to you in every way, emanating out through her body. We ask for that in Jesus' name. Make it so. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Juan. God bless you. I really appreciate your time and everything tonight.
Yeah, of course. Glad
And
to.
yep, we'd love to have you back anytime, like always. We're just here hanging out together, hanging in there, and trying to figure things out together. So
Yep. Yep. All right. Uh, I'm sure I'll be talking to some of you again here soon, and appreciate the chance to talk to your audience. And let's pray Tina through this all together.
absolutely.
All right. And
Uh,
oh, you know what? By the way, you can go over to Jen has her store over at the Jennifer Mack. She's got a couple of cool things. She's got some license plates that she had made with the Megador on it. Hang them on a couple
nice.
of my cars there, and on the front license. Some states don't require you have to have your regular license. You can put specialty plates on your front license, so they're kind of fun. Trump has the Megador. And then she has some Megador ties over there, which are going to be kind of fun. There's something coming that's going to be really cool. We have a few signed jackets over there, and there's something coming in mid-December that's going to be pretty cool. I think people are going to really want to have uh, something to show in that time frame, and they make great gifts and like that. And then I have the better prices on the metals if you're buying volume over at um, All Patriots at gumroad.com, which is my site. So, but the Jennifer Mack, you got to put the at the front. So, anyway, there you go.
Awesome, Juan. Sounds good. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Glad to. Talk soon.
All right, sounds good. God bless you.
All right.
All right, Patriots. So, what did you think of the interview? I know we started a little bit earlier than we intended on starting. Some pretty fascinating stuff there, and it sounds like in the Tina Peters situation, you really need to. Uh, it sounds like it'd be better to direct your calls and stuff to the governor's office in Colorado. It sounds like Trump's well aware that we're not happy about this situation. That something needs to be done. Um, Not a bad idea to keep um, sending messages over there, making calls, whichever you prefer to do. But Colorado might be a better direction to aim. Maybe we can drive them nuts until they, I don't know, learn how to treat 70-year-old women, perhaps. you know, what a situation right there. It's sad though. It's sad, to think about that situation because if these people weren't breaking the law and doing evil things, she would have never had to do what she had to do, which was the right thing. What would we think of her if she just looked the other way and did nothing? You know what I'm saying? So that's what makes the difference between um, people that are willing to go the distance and people that just turn the other cheek. You know, uh, the chemtrail stuff, that was pretty fascinating, wasn't it? I wasn't expecting I wasn't expecting that answer. I got to admit, people come up with a number of theories about what they're doing with the skies, and I didn't see that one coming. It almost sounds like it's connected to what, free energy, right? Interesting stuff. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything we want to look at while we're still here. I noticed a few things going on today that were so. Oh, yeah, I did it, didn't I? I forgot to ask him about Melania's dress. Son of a. I was gonna ask him about that emerald green dress because people were talking about it again today. We guys think of that. Here's your delta for the day. There's no step 5. It's fine with me. I'll take it. I will take it. Um, let's take a look at what I have here. I didn't come up with a whole lot today, but there were some things. Harvard University is going to investigate itself, the ties between Epstein and Larry Summers, and Mr. Summers is stepping down from OpenAI's board with all the stuff going on. Here's a good post from George News. To say that there's panic in DC right now is the understatement of the century. I hate StreamYard. I haven't used StreamYard in a long time. It's been about 3 months since Juan's been on. What else here? And I put together some stuff. I'll play a video at the end. This was interesting. Captain Kyle would say when Trump was talking about the board of peace and what he's been doing lately. Kyle asked, "Is that another name for like Jassara? Will cover large portions of the world. The United Nations passed it unanimously. China didn't vote against it. Russia didn't vote against it. The board will be staffed with heads of major countries." I think I might have a video. What do I got here? Yeah, let me see.
And a lot of progress has been made with respect to Gaza and just about everything else we touch. Just yesterday, the United Nations Security Council formally adopted my peace plan and officially endorsed the Board of Peace. This is a board like no other. It will have the heads of major countries, I think all of the major countries. I hope Your Highness will be on the board. You'll accept, I hope. But the Board of Peace will be something that's never even been thought of before. And it's covering Gaza, but it'll end up covering large portions of the world. And I was honored to be chosen the chair of that Board of Peace. And I think you'll see something that nobody's ever seen before in terms of the status of the board. There will never be a board like the board that we're going to be announcing. Everybody wants to be on the board.
You know, keep in mind, you can't always trust the scientists that are telling you what's falling from the sky. And people lie to you at every aspect of the stage. I know people are not happy with the speed that things are happening. Believe me, I'm right there in the middle of that with you because I'm watching the people around me not eat, not do anything, not be able to do things. Holidays are coming. People are trying to debate whether they can turn their heat on or pay their rent. I get it. I get it. Everybody's wound up, but it's incredibly intricate, and I'm sure you can imagine that. And if you pay attention, there's lots of stuff happening every day. There's children being rescued every step of the way in every state. There's people getting arrested in every state. Pam Bondi was talking about an indictment they unsealed today, which you will see here in a minute when I play the outro video. There's people going to Gitmo it's as far as I can tell, like we were kind of talking about the financial stuff, it's a necessity. It's not fun, not great, but I'm pretty sure you have to collapse the dollar to do this the right way, which means it will get a little more complicated before it gets better. But we just wait longer, don't we? We complain. Sometimes we complain. You complain. I complain. We can all complain. But at the end of the day, if you want to see an entirely different world, this is what has to happen. And freeing our elections up will change the entire planet. We have had all these countries stuck with installed leaders and manipulation, and we're all tired of waiting. You don't have to wait. You keep moving forward with your life and doing your part to make the world better around you and your community a little bit each day. I don't see it as waiting. I see it as a very complicated construction project, I guess. If you don't build the foundation right, the roof will come down on your head, right? I guess might be one way to put it. I think if people weren't in financial ruin right now, in that sense, that maybe people wouldn't be too frustrated. But there's another thing to think about. If you weren't in financial ruin right now, would you be paying attention to any of this stuff? I mean, maybe some of you that are more on the political side, like myself, but not everybody. Eyes wide open, you know. Yep. Yes, he did. A lot of people have been saying that. They were saying that at the first 4 years Trump was in office, and I think everything just ends up being slower than they think, takes longer than they think, a little longer here, a little longer there, and it just keeps pushing the time frame forward. That's the best that I could come up with, you know. But it's a complicated project. I don't think you can just snap your fingers and make this stuff happen. A lot of it's a process, especially dealing with courts. Wait and wait and wait. Yeah, I'd prefer it be done right too than just be done half-assed. Otherwise, you're going to have these problems again down the road in the future. I think every aspect of what they're handling here, they're doing it to the best of their ability. And, um, you know, I don't think they're, you know, laughing their asses off. Most of them are targets of the media every day. I mean, look at Trump. I don't think he's smiling and laughing his ass off. He's getting called a pedophile every day, you know. Um, all these people have become targets. They get threatened daily. Their families are targets that get threatened. Yeah, I get it. They've got more money than we do. They don't necessarily see it like we do in certain things, but what has to be done has to be done. Um, we either do it or we don't. we could say, well, we don't want these American families to go through this for a couple months, but uh, we have been arresting people. I think, and Juan said there's plenty that's happening that you're not seeing yet. It's a process. Maybe they should be locking them up. Yep. Yes, they are, Sally. We get targeted, they get targeted. Everybody becomes a target in this game. I think everything I got here, I'm going to play at the end. So, yeah. Sorry again, we jumped on a little early, but nobody's going to win again. That's one thing. I don't see any of this going backwards at this point. I don't think we have to worry about them being able to cheat elections again or doing this or that again. I'm not worried about that part. I think it's just slow getting them to the justice they deserve. If they have it all dropped there. Well, that's the thing, Thor. I think they've probably dropped the hammer on a lot of it, but there's still a process that has to happen. I still think there's a good portion of things, and even Juan said scripted. There's scripted aspect to things here too. Doesn't mean it's all that way, but sort of is what it is. I'm going to play this video. I was going to play it before the show. We started early, so going to play it now for you guys on the way out. And other than that, I will be back tomorrow night, and we will be doing a normal show again. Yeah, I don't know about that, Max. That 80% thing. I don't know. I heard him talking about that again last night with Nino. I think we were watching, and I don't know. That is probably a bit of the problem. People aren't paying attention like they should be. But then again, how can they when we're dealing with what we have to deal with on our end, our everyday lives? So it makes it hard to be super focused on all this. But and then you got people like Marjorie come out and they want to use the perfect time like this to lunge and to throw everyone off and to try and lower that percentage and make you have doubts about Donald Trump. I don't really have those doubts about Donald Trump. People around him, I don't know. That's a whole other story, but I think he's smart enough to handle them. So, scripted, scripted portion of things. I'm taking my shoes off. I'd like to be there in Hawaii. That'd be fun, huh? But I appreciate Juan's time and answering things. I think, he answered everything we talked about. Yeah. There's only so much that can be done in the waiting. It's a whole lot of waiting. But yeah, I am going to play this video on the way out. Scripted on the fly, Chris. That's probably a lot of it. Like I said, your plans never go to plan. Sometimes you have to start doing things on the fly and you have to plan as you go. And you make the best of it. I think they've planned it to go as easy as possible without screwing with people, but some of us are going to be a little uncomfortable. It's probably nothing compared to the people that they've pulled out of the ground and stuff like that. You guys know. I know. You guys hang in there. Have faith in God. God will provide. He will be there for you. Hold your faith there. Don't hold your faith in politics. It'll happen, but hold your faith in God, because that's where it needs to be. He will get you through. He will provide for you. He will be there in your time of need. So, yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I'm going to play this on the way out. Don't have too much fun.
And became goddamn army.
There's another force applied in combat that we generally don't think of as a weapon of war. That weapon is words. Words are weapons.
Telling the truth is the only way in which to influence people.
This is psychological warfare.
Tim Burgett Late Vote Series to censor delegate Stacy Plaskett. She's the one that was received a sizable contribution from Epstein, which apparently is legal. I'm not sure, but she also is the one who was texting with him during a committee hearing, getting instructions on how to better attack Trump from Epstein. Sending her the text, and so she's on some pretty powerful committees, and that just tells you how corrupt this place is. But the disgusting thing about it was 4 Republicans chose not to vote, 3 Republicans voted present, and 3 Republicans voted no. So it failed. And what they did was they cut a deal. They cut a deal on an ethics vote on a Republican, and that's just wrong. If everybody ought to just stand on their own If it were truly, we don't care whose party these sex offenders and all this other stuff are in, we're going after them, then we start cutting deals. To me, it's really disgusting. I get disgusted about some things, but this is one that's really, really bad. You've got some people on there who are they're chairmen of committees and things like that. And that's the kind of people we put in leadership. It's bogus and it stinks. And the first opportunity I get to speak to our leadership, I will give them a piece of my mind, and I doubt it will go anywhere. But they're the most sewer-dwelling people, some of these folks, not all of them, but some of them are. It's just disgusting. It really is. Anyway, still, thank y'all for sending me here. We got to keep fighting. We quit, and we lose the whole deal. Remember Reagan said we're one generation away from losing our country. Folks, we're one boat series away from losing our country. We got to wake up. God's given us an incredible gift, and we're just blowing it. It won't be around for everybody says for their grandkids. Dadgummit, it might not be around for your kids. It might not make it to the end of the year. Let's take our country back.
They've arraigned a Democratic member for taking a phone call from her constituent, Jeffrey Epstein, in the middle of a hearing. And of course, I don't think there's any rule here against taking phone calls in a hearing.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly. Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard
and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army,
or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Today we're unsealing a new indictment, charging Wedding with 2 additional counts of witness tampering and intimidation, murder, money laundering, and drug trafficking. The website that was used to hunt down this witness and his wife, that has since been removed. That has been deleted. Protecting federal witnesses from retaliation is core to the department's mission. It's about individual safety, but more, it's about protecting the rule of law itself. The new indictment also includes several other individuals involved in the murder of the witness and other crimes in connection with this criminal enterprise. You're going to be hearing more about that from the people behind me. We're working very closely with our partners at the State Department and the Department of Treasury. The State Department has raised the reward for Ryan Wedding from $10 million to $15 million. We're offering $2 million rewards for information leading to the arrest of those involved in the murder of the witness.
You'll hear the details from the tremendous team established here by the Attorney General. Most importantly, you do not get to be a drug kingpin and evade the law. Make no mistake about it. Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar. He's a modern-day iteration of El Chapo Guzman. This Justice Department and this FBI will work with our Canadian counterparts and the government officials across the world to bring him to justice. He is responsible for engineering a narco trafficking and narco terrorism program that we have not seen in a long time. He will not evade justice. We are here today because this Department of Justice, behind Attorney General's brilliant leadership and the Deputy Attorney General, have made it clear to the American people with the indictments they have brought that law enforcement and agencies like this FBI will lead the effort to go out there and make sure these animals are brought to justice. And that's exactly what we will do.
Andrew Labuno, former Bergen County mayor and current Hudson police sergeant, has been arrested over sexual assault charges involving a teenager in Englewood, New Jersey. According to independent online news, Andrew Labuno, 44, was allegedly found at a teenager's residence on West Palisade Avenue when the teen's father unexpectedly returned home. Police were reportedly called, and the Bergen County prosecutor's office became involved.
But here's the deal. When you're sitting there in a sitting committee and you're having communications with a convicted sex offender, and you're taking their advice on how to ask questions, maybe you got a problem. Maybe your problem is that you've brought disrepute on the House.
And massive spending, soaring costs, crushing regulations, and trillions of dollars in green new scams. Everything was a new scam. Green, green, green. Look, I'm all for the environmental, everything. I'm all for climate change. You know, they have new word, climate change. It used to be global warming. It's global warming. Well, that didn't work because it started coming down. They did the global cooling thing. Then they just said, we can't keep up with this. It's too much. So we'll go, perfect words, climate change. They're covered. If it rains, if it snows, if it's warm, it's climate change is destroying the world. Remember, the world was supposed to have been gone 2 years ago. They gave us 12 years, Howard, to live, right? 12 years. But that was 14 years ago. The world was going to burn up, but it got actually much cooler. They know these people. It's a little conspiracy out there. We have to investigate them immediately. They probably are being investigated. Their policies punish success, reward.
Arizona state lawmaker has been convicted after pleading guilty to multiple charges. The Arizona Attorney General says 30-year-old Austin Smith entered 2 guilty pleas this morning in court for forging signatures for his re-election campaign last year. Prosecutors say Smith was representing District 29, covering parts of Surprise and El Mirage, and he admitted to signing the name of a deceased woman on one of his candidate nomination petitions. That was in March of last year. He's now set to be sentenced in January. The Republican lawmaker previously claimed that the 2020 election was rigged.
So that's why tonight I'm pleased to announce that we're taking our military cooperation to even greater heights by formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally, which is something that is very important to them. And I'm just telling you now for the first time because I wanted to keep a little secret for tonight. I just heard him say, oh, that's nice. That's another point you won today. And signing a historic strategic defense agreement, which we just signed a little while ago. So congratulations at South Carolina. And we have a very different Middle East than we had when I first came into office, like I would say day and night.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from Florida seek recognition?
I have a parliamentary inquiry.
The gentlelady from Florida will state her inquiry.
I was wondering if the Speaker of the House of Representatives can explain why leadership on both sides, both Democrat and Republican, are cutting back-end deals to cover up public corruption in the House of Representatives from both Republican and Democrat members of Congress.
The gentlelady has not stated a proper parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you very much, but I think the American people know what happened tonight.
There's probably closer to a little over 200 folks that have been arrested at this point. And to the point that was made earlier, many of them have gotten these criminal backgrounds that are being recognized. And so I'm very thankful. I hope one of the results is going to be that the city of Charlotte is going to be safer. because these criminal illegal aliens are being taken off the streets. And so it is warranted because, again, we've got a serious issue going on in Charlotte. Not only have we seen crime issues that have taken place, but I think that I saw a report just, I guess it was yesterday morning, that Charlotte is one of the top cities in the nation in human trafficking. Yes. And I think that's a great concern. And so, you know, when Border Patrol decides where they're going in, they have their own intelligence that they have been able to muster. They have their own information, and they choose these areas because there are suspects that they are looking for, and they have information that would lead them there. So I'm confident that they're there, they're getting the job done, and I'm very grateful.
Fox News alert, ICE announcing a brand new operation to conduct welfare checks on the 450,000 children that the Biden administration placed with unvetted sponsors, some of whom were sex traffickers, gang members, and abusers. The Trump administration has already located more than 24,400 children, and some of these stories are absolutely heartbreaking, like this one. A 1-year-old unaccompanied minor crossed the border during the Obama administration. That little girl is now 12 years old. During her 11 years in America, she lived with a series of relatives and endured horrifying abuse. According to Fox's Brooke Taylor, she was found in the custody of 2 sisters who have now been arrested. The 12-year-old was found, quote, with injuries all over her body, extreme malnutrition, and an infected gash on her head, and zip ties around her wrist. Among those who abused this innocent child were her one-time sponsor, a distant uncle that she was placed with in 2024, despite being an illegal immigrant with a criminal conviction. That sponsor, that alleged abuser, was given temporary protected status by the Biden administration. Why? Here is video that Brooke Taylor obtained of the Trump administration arresting that man just yesterday. This is just one of the nearly 500,000 children that the Trump administration is seeking to protect.
He excommunicated him from Mar-a-Lago. He got rid of him. He got rid of him out of his life when he realized the guy was a total scumbag and what he was doing. But you know who didn't get rid of Epstein? The Democrats. After he was a convicted sex offender, you've got him texting with Democrat members of Congress, telling them what to say. Yeah. So you have Trump responsibly excommunicating Epstein and Democrats cozying up to him. Again, I have a feeling we're going to learn about how deeply tied into the left Epstein really was.
Yeah. A lot of drama going on right now in North Carolina. It's all about the money, and it's all about the children. Follow the money. I find it interesting that the headquarters of Bank of America is in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Bank of America is one of the largest financial institutions in the world. The ICE raids are really about the pedophiles. They're raiding the pedophiles, but the mainstream media won't tell you that. And Tom Homan told us that the sanctuary cities are the biggest problems.
Regardless of Republican or Democratic city, we're going to enforce the laws across this country and take those public safety threats off the street, Bill. But I'll say this, I've said it from day one. Sanctuary cities, we're flooding the zone because we know they're releasing public safety threats in the communities every day. That's where the biggest problem is, and that's where we send the majority of the agents.
Clearly, the cabal and the politicians are using these sanctuary cities to protect their pedophiles and continue running their massive worldwide pedophilia ring and use humans as currency and launder their money. But what if it's even deeper and darker than that? What if these sanctuary cities are where specific labs are, where they create adrenochrome? What if this is all connected? The Bank of America, Charlotte, North Carolina, human trafficking, adrenochrome, sanctuary cities. What if it's even connected to the Italian mafia and the Vatican? Bank of America has a rich history. It dates all the way back to 1904. It started out as the Bank of Italy. The first Bank of America began in Italy, but then they moved it to San Francisco and started an American version of it, specifically to help Italian Americans out. In 1928, the Bank of Italy merged with the Bank of America in Los Angeles and was officially renamed Bank of America National Trust and Savings Association. It kept growing and merging, and in 1998, it became one of the largest financial institutions in the world and headquarters out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And don't forget, in 2009, when Obama crashed the economy, Bank of America received a $45 billion bailout from the government. And don't forget, in 2014, Bank of America settled a $17 billion lawsuit related to mortgage fraud. What if Bank of America is one of the keystones for the three city-state empire? What if it's connected to the Italian mafia, adrenochrome, cartel, politicians, cabal, and human trafficking? What if the mainstream media is hiding the truth from the people? The ICE raids are about raiding the pedophiles, and that's big business for the cabal. And what if it's connected to Bank of America and adrenochrome? I find it very interesting that one of the largest financial institutes in the world that was originally connected to the Bank of Italy is in a sanctuary city. It's all about the children. The mainstream media and politicians are hiding the truth about adrenochrome, and follow the money.
Long years, Joe Biden secured less than $1 trillion. In 9 short months, I've secured $18 trillion to rebuild our factories, create hundreds of thousands of jobs, and bring back those beautiful words, made in America. So think of that. He did less than $1 trillion in 4 years, and in 9 months, we've done more than $18 trillion, okay? That's called success. And we think that by the end of the first year, it'll be over $20 trillion. So, and thank you very much. You helped. And I'll tell you, it was an amazing time. But this looks like it's going to be blowing it away, because when these plants, which are being built now, and many are going to be started very shortly, many, but when they open, we're going to see numbers the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. And, you know, in some cases, you're building extremely complex plants. You're building plants to make computers and to make telephones, to make a lot of different things, missiles. But you're building plants that make things that are very, very detailed, and you have to have great knowledge. And you're coming here and you find, if we don't have people that did that before, we are allowing you, and I may take a little heat. I always take a little heat from my people, the people that love me and the people that I love. They happen to be toward the right of center, toward the right. Sometimes they're way right. But if you have to bring people to get those plants opened, we want you to do that, and we want those people to teach our people how to make computer chips and how to make other things. You can't come in, and I'm explaining, you can't come in, open up a massive computer chip factory for billions and billions of dollars like is being done in Arizona, and think you're going to hire people off an unemployment line to run it. They're going to have to bring thousands of people with them, and I'm going to welcome those people. Now, I love my conservative friends. I love MAGA, but this is MAGA. And those people are going to teach our people how to make computer chips, and in a short period of time, our people are going to be doing great, and those people can go home where they probably always want to be. You know, when people are born someplace, they tend to want to go, and we have the greatest country in the world, but they want to go. But they're going to do. We had one case in Georgia where a battery factory, batteries are very dangerous to make. They're complex, much more complex than people understand. And they spent $1 billion to build a factory, and they were told to get out. And I said, stop it. Don't be stupid. And we worked it out. And now they're teaching our people how to do it. But they're going to have to spend, Jensen, I don't think you can open up a big plant with your friend from Taiwan where we're going to have 40 or 50% of the computer chip business I don't think you can do that with people that don't even know what a chip looks like. Do you agree with that? So somehow, you know, the people that are against us are really, really smart. They're unbelievable patriots, but they just don't understand. Our people have to be taught. This is something they've never done. And we're not going to be successful if we don't allow people that invest billions of dollars in plant and equipment to bring a lot of their people from their country to get that plant open, operating, and working. I'm sorry. So my poll numbers just went down, but with smart people, they've gone way up. They've gone way up. And I mean that. So for those of you that are doing the plants, you're going to have all the help you need, and you're going to do a great job. And you're going to teach our people how to do it, and our people are going to be just as good as your people ever were in not such a long period of time.
Our CIA is over the top, just like it was when the Church Committee hearings were held, when the truth of Obama and many of these other people is known. When we learn this in the Gitmo trials, it's going to be shocking to people. Just in the last week, a new movie came out, Nuremberg, about Nuremberg and World War II and the aftermath. You're getting prepped for Nuremberg 2.0. You're about to learn things you never wanted to know, including horrors in the way that kids and children were treated. Epstein Island, that's just one of the locations. America's going to have to take a deep breath and understand what's been done in our name, and many of those players involved are creations of CIA, a la John Brennan. He gets a front row seat at Gitmo.
Beautiful.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. We've got some difficult days ahead.
And we are going to make our country great again.
I just want to do God's will. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I am talking about genuine peace, the kind of peace that makes life on earth worth living, the kind that enables men and nations to grow and to hope and build a better life for their children. Not merely peace for Americans, but peace for all men and women. Not merely peace in our time, but peace in all time.
They trap you and they use you before you even know. But love is blind and you're far too kind. Don't ever let it show. I wish that I knew what I know now. When I was younger, I wish that I knew what I know now. When I was stronger, the can such a pretty show to steal your heart away. The backstage back on earth again. The dressing rooms are great. They come on strong and it ain't too long, but I make you feel a man. But love is blind and you soon will find you're just a boy again. When you wanna live, you get a cheek, makes you wonder where you are. If you want some more, then she's fast asleep, leaves you twinkling with the stars. For a young grandson, there's nothing I can say. You have to learn just like me, and that's the hardest way. Ooh la la, ooh la la, la la, yeah. I wish that I knew what I know now. When I was younger, I wish that I knew what I know now. When I was stronger.
The man above is coming back. He's already here. The Great Awakening is about, the QQQ awakening. Us awakening to our highest self. We're all Q. And every race of people, doesn't matter what country they're from, the righteous ones, the ones that think about the man above, they're all on the same team. They all think the same way. They all know that they need to thank him for everything they have. And that's what this is about, is telling the truth when the truth can be told, when the timing's right.
For love is blind and you're far too kind. Don't ever let it show. I wish that I knew what I know now. When I was younger, I wish that I knew what I know now. When I was stronger. nothing I